Hello and welcome to this special feature. Now, as the world faces the escalating impacts of climate change, the need for clean, sustainable energy solutions has never been more urgent. The world's third largest consumer of electricity and the world's third largest renewable energy producer, India, is on her way to cement the commitment to achieve net zero by 2070. And to speak to us about how stakeholders can come together to further solidify the national stance in this space, we are joined by two eminent industry experts. Allow me to introduce them. I'm now joined by both the co-founders of Prozeel Green Energy Limited. We have Manan Thakkar and Shobhit Rai. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me here today in the studio. Shobhit, first question to you. So, the government is doing a lot in this green space, sustainability space, and it's almost like a front runner. Your thoughts on some of these policies, how are they impacting industry, consumers? Could you shed some light on that?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for inviting me on this show. As far as Government of India is concerned, so we have a very ambitious target of 500 gigawatt by 2030. Out of which we have already done close to 215 gigawatt of renewable capacity, which is including a mix of solar, wind, biomass and hydro. Now, you see that to promote this and to meet these targets of 2030, the sustainability target of 2030, 500 gigawatt, we are working on various schemes like the Green Energy Open Access, which is for especially the C&I consumers, where earlier there was a restriction where LT consumers were not being allowed to go for an open access which has contract demand of less than 1 megawatt, but now that is also a segment where they can avail the benefits of green power, which is obviously one step ahead to promote the renewable energy. Number two is the solar agri feeder system, which is the PM Kusum Yojana, which has picked up in significant way, which almost every state is getting the benefits out of it, which is ultimately going to impact, which is in a positive way going to impact the overall consumers of the country, because right now the cross subsidization which happens ultimately has to be paid by a normal taxpayer, which is obviously the PM has come up with a very aggressive solution of solarizing all the agri feeders. And you look at states like Maharashtra doing almost more than 10 gigawatt of capacities under the PM Kusum Yojana. Then we have the PM the rooftop solar Yojana, which is the Muft Bijli Yojana, which is again picking up in a very big way. But I think the major demand which is coming up is especially from the C&I sector, where most of the industries are opting to go for a green power because they have taken sustainability targets to meet their sustainability goals. By some companies have taken it by 2027, somebody at by 2035, depending on the consumption. So I think many schemes by the government which is promoting the renewable energy, plus obviously you look at for larger companies and for larger discoms, they have come up with waiver of transmission charges if you do the projects on ISTS. The development of green energy corridor, where earlier there was a problem where there was a surplus power supply which you were not able to transfer to another part of the country where the power is needed. But now with ISTS, it's kind of like our Prime Minister's Modi mission is one grid, one nation. So I think these are all very key initiatives which is helping the growth of this industry. And lastly, even the state governments are doing their bit by helping to if you talk about the electricity duty waiver, which is 100% for renewable power. If you consume renewable power, there is no electricity duty, which is again a very big benefit for the consumer, and also for the other benefits like you talk about the cross subsidy and additional surcharge, which has been waived off by the state government if you opt for a captive renewable plant. So states are also doing their bit. So I think we are on set to achieve the 2030 targets.
Fantastic. So it's definitely a very exciting time and a lot of things are happening in this space. So Manan, just taking this ahead, what all does Prozeel Green Energy do in this space? How are you helping businesses go green?
So Prozeel was started in 2011 with the mission to help industries decarbonize themselves, and with a vision to be one of the most reliable and bankable green energy company. Today we specialize in plug-and-play solar park model. We customize our solution. We are the decarbonization partner for our industries, where we help them by going green through renewable energy power, whether it's solar, wind, or along with battery energy storage. We customize the solution as per the state policies. Nowadays, industries they want their end product to be called green. So we do entire setup of the plant, whether it's wind, solar, and help them to decarbonize themselves and make their product green. Along with that, we are adding on the new services in terms of decarbonization value chain, where there are some of the products like called green steam, where initially it was all the steams were produced by coal and other carbon dioxide emitted fuels, but now it is being produced by the renewable energy. So this all will help them to say and convert themselves to sustainable product, which is a trend for all the industries. If you see any industries, they want that if somebody is making a fabric, it's like my per meter fabric is emitting this much carbon dioxide. That should be at a lowest level now. So we are helping them to convert their product green.
Fantastic. So, of course, that is a big task, a very important task, so to say. And Shobhit, then, if you could shed some light on, maybe share some examples of sectors that you're seeing who are major sectors that are wanting to go green, that you're working with, any stories that you can share with us?
So today, sustainability is equal to profitability. I mean, it's a tagline, I would say, that for major industries nowadays. You talk about the industries like textile industry, which is a very, very competitive industry. Obviously, the volumes are too big. So we are catering to textile industry, which is almost out of the 2.2 gigawatt of installed capacity, 500 megawatts, which is in various states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, where you have got all major textile producers, whether they are spinning, ginning, specialty textile products. So textile is one of the sectors. Second is steel, of course, one of the major consumers of power. Recently, we did a very large project, which is a 339 megawatt for a very large global steel company, which got commissioned, which of course would be one of the biggest captive projects at a single location. Then we have got chemical and pharma. Of course, these are again industries where they are power guzzlers in certain cases. Almost 25-30% of their overall cost of the goods is power. Then we got automotive sector, which is again very power intensive. So we have got more than 300-400 megawatt of capacities installed for our automotive consumers. So majorly these are the major clientele, I would say, or major power users in India as of now. But we are also seeing a lot of traction, which we have started to see from data centers, where data centers are coming up in a very big way in India. And recently we have signed few contracts with data centers, and we see that this is going to be the next big thing. Secondly, we also see a lot of push which will come on the agrivoltaic side of renewable energy, because if you see that land is a commodity which you cannot grow. It's something that it's limited. So today or tomorrow, definitely government will keep on pushing on agrivoltaics as well, because if you see that the biggest challenge in the industry today is land and power evacuation. So I think agrivoltaics can solve a lot of problem with this. And as I said that retail is going to pick up in a very big way, where we are also again started to see a traction with our consumers, which they were inquiring 1 year back, where stores like, let's say, you talk about a McDonald's or a Burger King, when they operate more than 1,000 stores in India. Earlier, with every store with a contract demand of maybe 100-120 kilowatt, we are not able to use the facility for open access. But now with this new regulations, they will again contribute to a large extent to expand this renewable energy base in India.
Interesting, because I mean that's a huge impact for those stores also, if they get so many of their stores online. Manan, and like Shobhit spoke also, like this new sector, data centers, is also coming very much on this. How are you seeing maybe some new technologies coming into the place which is helping businesses, which is helping businesses go green, which is also helping you help these businesses go green?
Yes. So initially, the idea is to convert as much as possible to renewable energy. As Shobhit mentioned, it's not just converting green, it's also making their product profitable. So there are various concepts where RTC, it's round the clock power, it's must for running any factory. So now the combination of wind, solar, So where wind and solar are running simultaneously and sharing the transmission lines. So where they can convert themselves to 80% of their power to green. At the same time, with the battery energy storage cost going down, along with battery, it's no far that we will be achieving 100% conversion to renewable energy. So these are the new technologies on which the sector is moving towards, as well as there are offshore wind policies. Again, as the land was one of the concerns for the wind sector, offshore wind will also be very helpful in increasing the renewable energy capacity of the target of 500 gigawatt. There are certain technologies where certain factories have thermal plants within the factory, where they can be used. There are a lot of kind of reservoirs and lakes which are available. So floating solar is one of the technologies where again help us to optimize the land usage and convert yourself to green. So these are overall the new technologies on which the sector is moving, and which will help in achieving the target of government of 500 gigawatt in next 5 years.
Wow, those are some really great, interesting, like floating solar park, so to say. Is quite an interesting, innovative.
Just to add on that, see, battery energy storage is going to be the future. We would say that this is going to be a game changing for RE-RTC power, which just Manan mentioned right now. So, see, if you see recently, just 2 days back, Ministry of Power has come up with a recommendation asking all the DISCOMs to go for battery energy as a mandate for projects, because ultimately there is a limit to a grid which can offtake power, and typically with the way renewables are picking up, and especially on the solar side where you have only daytime generation, but in the evening you are not able to use the existing infrastructure. So it is going to solve a big problem, which is like the grid infrastructure will get much more optimized, where daytime you can utilize the grid for the on-grid generation, and the same grid which is lying ideal during the evening hours when there is no solar generation, you can store the power in the battery during the day, the surplus power you can store it in the daytime, and you utilize that grid. So ultimately the power evacuation which is needed remains the same, but at the same time you are able to inject more power into the same grid. So that is helping even developers, that will help developers to even reduce the cost of the overall infrastructure, reduce the cost of energy. Again, it's a boost for the Indian economy, because you know the more the cost of the power reduces because of all these things, which is ultimately going to help our industries to grow in a much faster and become more competitive.
Absolutely. On that note, it's time for a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to this very special episode where I'm in conversation with both the co-founders of ProZeal Green Energy Limited, Manan Thakkar and Shobhit Rai. Shobhit, I want to take one point that you said earlier, because I really like that tagline that you gave, that sustainability is profitability. So definitely there is just, I mean, the profitability is just one part of the benefits. There are many more benefits that businesses get by going green. But what are some of the challenges? Because it's not going to be so easy, just like, you know, in a snap of a finger it's changed. There must be some kind of a runway, a timeline that is required. So how are you guiding customers on that?
So, you know, we are a complete solution provider. So the biggest USP that we have, and there are not many companies, you know, in India right now, which is offering the kind of solution that we do, because it is not a decision where the company can take it within few hours or a few days. It is an entire exercise. That is where we as a company have been able to prove our worth to our customers, because the segment that we cater, which is the commercial and industrial sector, so that segment doesn't have this complete know-how about, you know, what the renewable energy sector, how the regulation works, because it's a very typical industry where it has been regulated by the state policies or the central policies. And power is being a state subject, every state has got a different kind of energy mix, and that is the reason they have a different kind of policies depending on what is the power mix that they have. So we guide them right from calculating what is the right size of plant that you should put up based on the state regulation. We'll help them identify the land and the power evacuation facility, which obviously that is not a easy task, which is one of the biggest challenges in the industry today. And the companies are not willing to take up that, because they want somebody to do everything on their behalf, because they are not an expert in this subject. They might end up taking a land where there is no power evacuation, or they might end up taking the power evacuation where there is no availability of land. So to match everything together, and then the technology selection, then obviously the performance of the plant, and then integration of the plant. So, there are multiple things. So, they ideally like to come up with a player like us, which obviously if you try and Google up on a national level, you will not be able to find out many companies who are able to offer this solution. So, that's where we have been able to win the confidence of our customer. Plus the other challenge that the industry gets, like when you talk about large MNCs or large corporates, when they try to identify a company to get this job done for their sustainability or achieve their sustainability goals, typically bankability becomes very important in infrastructure projects, because it's not about just setting up the project, but the company has to be there with them for more than 25 years with the life of the project, because ultimately they are dependent on you. Since they don't have their own in-house team, to how would they handle these projects which are located maybe 500 kilometers from where the factory is, maybe anywhere in the state or anywhere in the country as well. So, that is where we have created an impact on this, where when they try and look at bankable companies, we come as one of the front runners for those kind of projects. Great. So, we solve three major problems. One is their land issue, connectivity issue, and the regulatory issue, which is something that we solve, and that is the reason, and these are all major industry challenges as well. Plus, we don't restrict themselves to looking at only one solution, which is like if solar karna hai to you have to come to Prozil, but agar hybrid karna hai to we have to go to somebody else. No, we have got a bouquet of solutions, which is like solar karna hai to bhi Prozil hai, wind solar hybrid karna hai to bhi Prozil hai, solar plus battery karna hai to bhi Prozil hai.
Got it.
And now we are forward integrating to many other new technologies as well.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, then definitely, because it just helps those clients to makes it faster, more efficient for them also to achieve what they are planning to get to. Manan, so like we established, it's an exciting field. There is a lot happening, a lot of continuous evolution. What are some of Prozil's future plans, growth strategies, if you could share that with us?
So, as we mentioned, Prozil are already there in the renewable space, offering solar, wind, battery energy storage. We have just forward integrated into as an independent power producer, where we are supplying power to government bodies as well as industries. In next 1 year, the company has a target to achieve 1 gigawatt of portfolio in the IPP business. At the same time, in the backward integration side, company has already finalized the technology for the cell manufacturing, and will be coming up with the manufacturing plant of solar cells, which are right now mostly imported from China. And from 2026, government has announced that all the modules which are made are used in India should be used with Indian cells. Okay, so we are coming up with a premium technology, and by 2026, mid of 2026, we'll be having 1 gigawatt of line in terms of cell manufacturing, and expandable to 4 gigawatt in next 1 year. So, company future plans are forward integration into IPP and the backward integration to cell manufacturing unit.
Great, that's great. Yeah, Shobhit,
yeah, so adding to Manan's point, so we are also battery energy storage is something that the company is looking at in a big way, and we have started this exercise even before the MOP announced that it will become a mandate for a certain scale of plant to have at least 10% storage mandatory. Now, see, you talk about wind solar hybrid as a solution which gives you almost kind of like 65 or 70% RE-RTC power, but with battery energy storage we can even go up to 90-95% of your overall energy consumption. Now, for that we have taken a target that right now we are doing almost close to 250 megawatt hour of storage project, which is like, I would say that out of which only 50 megawatt hour is the government project that we are doing it for SECI in Leh, which is one of a very prestigious project that we are doing at a very high altitude where the temperatures are at minus 40 degrees. Apart from that, 200 megawatt hour is for C&I consumers, which is something that nobody has been able to crack it so far. And that's something that we have been able to crack it, which is we feel very proud of that. And we have a target that on the C&I space by 2030 at least 5 gigawatt hour with battery storage is something that we target to. Plus on our decarbonization journey, we are also moving forward to setting up our first distributed green hydrogen project, which is going to be with a 5 million nm cube facility which will come up in Gujarat in next 12 months, something which will be catering again to the same segment of customers, which is the C&I. So it becomes very easy for us to cross-sell to the same customers, because we have created almost more than 300 plus large and corporate customers where they need products like green steam, battery energy solution and the green hydrogen. So that is the future for us, and we'll keep on adding more services as the demand picks up in future technologies as well.
Definitely exciting times. One last question before I let you go. Shobhit, just talk to me about your funding plans, because of course I'm sure your company is growing so well and such a great speed. What are some of the funding plans?
So currently as a company, we have been in operations for more than 13 years, but we just diluted 10%. Right now 90%, almost 89 point something is between me and Manan equally. And we have large plans to go for IPO. We have almost there. We will be in the second half of 2025 is where we think we're looking at a large fundraise round. Plus we also have our IPP business, where we are seeing a huge amount of interest from a lot of private equities to sell these assets which we have created, because these are all AA, AAA rated kind of customers that we have signed off with. So I think going forward as a company, we have a plan that by 2030 we, on the EPC business side of it, a minimum of a $1 billion revenue company is what we want to create, and we almost have done the backward calculation for that, and I think we should be able to easily do that, which is the bare minimum target that we have.
Fantastic. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to both of you and to hear the story of Prozeal, and all the very best to both of you and to the rest of your team for the way ahead. It's definitely some exciting times on the way ahead. Thank you so much for talking to us. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a very special discussion with both the co-founders of Prozeal Green Energy, and I hope you're taking back some important points on the future of sustainability and green energy in India. Thank you so much for watching.